Hi, guys. Welcome to my podcast. My name is Karina, and today we're going to be talking about investments and startups and how you can avoid the mistakes I've made building my startup, which I started last year. So let's dive in. Quick backstory. I opened my visa agency back in 2023. And a year later, I decided that I wanted to create a startup out of it. So I did. I found a co-founder. It started very nice. We incorporated in Delaware, which was a big mistake right away. And then we started working on it. We wanted to automate the whole international students coming to the US path. So we worked on it. I spoke with a bunch of different investors. We even received an offer for $100K, which we did not take. And I'll tell you later why. This was an exciting time, but at the same time, it was so scary. I felt like I was not getting enough help, although whoever you kind of like message on LinkedIn, most of the people will gladly get on a call or text you back with some information, but it was still not the level of support I was looking for, I guess, because I wanted some kind of community, maybe hearing about these mistakes, which I should avoid, right? After we were building a startup, we got accepted to ʟᴇᴛ'ꜱ, which is a New York top accelerator program with acceptance rate less than 3%, which is like a Harvard acceptance rate. So that was an amazing program in terms of collaboration and networking. I learned some stuff, but I couldn't say that all this time and money investment was worth the program, but I would still do that again just because it was an exciting experience. Maybe not for my particular startup building, but for my entrepreneurial journey overall. So definitely would recommend that. I have a video where I shared how we got accepted to ʟᴇᴛ'ꜱ, what kind of questions we were asked, and what you can do to increase your chances of acceptance to ʟᴇᴛ'ꜱ. So why the first mistake was to incorporate in Delaware? This is actually a rule. If you're a startup, for you to get an investment from institutional investors, angel investors, everyone wants you to be incorporated in Delaware. The mistake we made is that we incorporated too quick and we ended up not getting any investment and not accepting the investment that was offered of $100K. So my suggestion would be is to not incorporate until you have this term sheet sent to you, this offer that you received from investors that they really want to invest in you, because incorporating and having a company in Delaware costs you much more than having a company incorporated in Illinois or Florida, for example. The next mistake was to hurry and try to get any investment possible without thinking of like consequences and what it means to get an investment. Because when you get this money from a company, from institutional investors, etc., they might push you towards what they want, especially if you give up your board seat. And at the end of the day, you might end up with like a very tiny service line just because you have to start very narrow and then expand when you kind of like get the market in there. So in my case, it was a little bit different because first, we were not B2B and most investors invest in B2B. And second, we really wanted to help international students with the whole path, not just like getting their I-20s and getting accepted to the university. We wanted to help that student with housing, with adaptation support when they come to the US, the whole admissions and visa acceptance. And then when they're in the US, many of the students want to get a job if they have internship programs and then stay in the US and get their green cards or work visas. So I wanted to create this whole pathway, which again is not a startup route. It's more of like a small business route. So I guess the conclusion here is be careful with what you're doing and how it gets you to the goal, because your goal might be different from a regular startup goal. Mistake number 3, your co-founder. From what I understood, your co-founder needs to be your best friend or a person that you trust a lot. best teams that I saw are coming from people that were working together or friends for a long time, not someone finding a co-founder online and then building something without prior understanding how that person works, because our work ethics might be different. Our time investment might be different. And you need to figure that out at the beginning before you sign a contract, before you spend money on attorneys, and then need to work on co-founder breakup, right? So that's a mistake number 3. So be careful when you choosing your co-founder. Mistake number 4 is trying to build something that investors want to invest into. For example, when we came to Antler, the idea was to build what I wanted to build, right? Like helping international students come to the US cheaper and faster and easier, and then legalize here. Basically, it was all-in-one AI for immigration. But when you're talking to different investors, they give you perspective of what they want to invest to and what they want you to build. And then you start tweaking your company to meet their expectations. But maybe this is not what you want. Maybe this is not your dream, and you don't have this involvement and passion towards building something like that. And also be careful, because none of those investors promise to invest in you. So whenever you tweak your company to build something, you can't untweak it later. I mean, you can technically, but you spend so much time, energy, resources. Maybe you invested in the whole tech and a lot of things. So just think about what you want and what your goal is, because most of the companies, especially if it doesn't require you like building a rocket ship or something physical, you can build it, test it, create your MVP without any money, basically, just with your time and social media, which again, follow this channel and my social media to pick up some tricks on how to gain your audience and get clients from social media, because that was actually one of our main revenue stream, my social media channels. We got over 50,000 followers. My brand got over 50,000 followers on all social media channels, and we were able to generate revenue using that following. So think about what can you build without investor money. And I understand that you might want to quit a job or, focus on that full time. But if it works, and if you build an MVP and you see that people are interested in it, they buy stuff, you'll be able to either generate some revenue and maybe quit your job, or get the investment because you can show traction. And mistake number 5 is working with your relatives, including your spouses, etc. Also be careful, because startup is a very risky thing, right? Everyone knows it, everyone talks about it. So whenever someone from your family offers to give you money, explain to them what's going to happen with this money if your startup fails, because there could be many things, right? That could happen. They're investing and they're willing to help, and they're giving you money that they basically don't need. That's one thing. If they're giving you their whole life savings just to support you and then maybe get more money, better for them to invest into a stock market. Because if you lose this money, if your startup fails, think about how you're going to communicate with that person after. Think about this whole ecosystem that's going to be in your family because of that. So I would say this is a very important lesson that I learned and that you should be aware of. Do not take investment from your family unless this is actually the money that they don't need. It's not that big of an amount of money for them. And they will not hold you accountable if your startup fails. If you want to learn more, if you want to connect and support each other, I'm creating a group for startup founders. We'll be holding webinars. I'll be sharing my journey, mistakes, and whatever helpful tips I can share with you, I'll be doing that. And we're going to have a group where you guys can talk to each other and help each other in different ways, as well as I'll send you lists of active investors that I got from a lot of different people that I spoke with throughout last year. And if I can introduce you to someone who I know, I'd be happy to do that. So the link to join the group will be in the description under this video. So join and let's help each other. I see you guys in the next videos. Bye.